Welcome to our podcast, Millennial Mindset. This is going to be centered around the trials and tribulations of successful people, people who are just starting out, and those who want to get started.
Now, I know that in today's day and age, the whole idea of starting a business or just simply getting started can be portrayed as difficult or just simply boring.
So, what we aim to do here at Millennial Mindset is bring you free, valuable content with valuable guests every single time.
Now an introduction to ourselves. I'm Alex, founder of Motivation Mindshift on Instagram, bringing you daily motivation and tips on how to live your best life.
And I'm Christian, founder of Teenage Day Trader on Instagram and YouTube, providing you with all things regarding stock trading and just self-improvement as a whole.
So without further ado, let's jump right into the first episode of
Millennial Mindset. For the first episode, we're going to have a very special guest. His name is
Barragan.
So tell us a little about yourself, bro.
I'm 16 years old, and I just won a national title in boxing. And as much as I like that, I also really love like entrepreneurship and like what you do here. So.
Alrighty.
Dope.
So
with that said, what got you into boxing?
When I was a kid, I always grew up around boxing. My dad is a retired professional boxer, and after a while growing around it, it really grew onto me, and I found a passion for it.
So when did you decide to start taking it seriously? Like, you're a national champ, so it must have been a hard decision to just focus on being a national champ and just pushing your way through to be the best you can.
In the beginning of the year in 2018, like I said, I really found a passion for it, and so I just started training. It was all I thought about. It was all I watched on TV, and I just took it seriously. And every day I just gave it my 100% until I was ready for a tournament.
Nice.
So what's your training schedule like? Is it pretty hectic with school and everything like that?
So get out of school, go home, get ready, and go straight to practice until like 7.
Damn, that's it. So you trained a lot, right? So what was your diet? Like, you had to have a lot of meat, a lot of protein, or what was it like? Like, how did you balance it out?
Right. So before the tournament, it was just stay healthy and stay in good condition, no malnutrition. So just eating a lot of protein, staying in good health, and then by the end, when we got closer to the tournament, it was cutting off little pieces of our diet to make weight.
All right, dope.
So you got any crazy weight cut stories? Because I've seen documentaries on YouTube and stuff, people killing themselves just to make weight.
Right. So about 2 weeks before the tournament, I was about 150, 145. Just eating a lot of protein, working out, building muscle. And then so when the tournament came, I was fighting at 132. So I cut all that weight in about a week and a half, and weighed in at 129.
That's freaking crazy, man. So
what's the recovery process like? Like, how did you get recovered from that to be ready to just go in the ring?
I had to weigh in twice because I fought twice in the tournament. So I ate a little bit, drink a lot of liquids, and then so I was able to cut them back off after weigh-in. So just a lot of Pedialyte and water.
Pedialyte. How's the tournament? Like, how was the experience?
It was actually one of the most. I've never been nervous about something like that in a really long time, but it was a great experience. A lot of great competitors. And it really toughens you up mentally.
Yeah. Do you have any crazy stories of getting in fights outside of the ring, when you're not really supposed to, just on the street, somebody approaches you yo, what's up, man?
Right. Yeah. So the reason I actually started working out for boxing was because I lost my first fight when I was in middle school. But then
a tournament fight in middle school?
Right. Yeah, but then after that, it was just more. I liked it more and started working out, and so I've gone in a few fights after, and it was pretty fun. I enjoy those.
So tell us a little bit about them. Like some guy named Debo come up to you and be like, yo, what's up, man? Or how did it start? Just tell us one of them, your favorite one.
My favorite fight. This guy was walking around and he kind of shoulder trucked me, and when I told him to watch it,
we can't let people do that to us, bro. That's disrespectful.
Yeah. So when I told him to watch it, he started acting really tough, and so he said to fight. So it was pretty fun, It was pretty quick. Yeah. So it was pretty quick, Just that he threw a punch, I slipped it and just hit him with the right, and he kind of started.
Damn, that's right. Little 1-2 or what?
Just a 2.
That's all you need, just a 2. All right. So you have any what are some of your biggest inspirations? So how did you get into boxing?
My biggest inspiration was my dad. Seeing how hard he worked and seeing what a passion he had for it really gave me a bigger passion and understanding of the sport.
All right, tight.
So tell us a little bit about your dad, about him just being a fighter.
My dad really loved boxing. He's been boxing since he was 12. It was his main passion is something that he thought he would do as a career his whole life. But after having kids and getting married and having to work a lot, he had to prioritize things a lot more. So, I really appreciate the sacrifices he made, even boxing, which is something that he really loved. And he was he was top 10 in the nation. So, he was really good, but, work got to him. So that's why I take it personally. And I really do take it to heart when I think about boxing and my dad.
How was it growing up in just like a boxing family or that kind of environment?
It was kind of interesting because, like I said, I lost my first fight in middle school, right? So it was like everyone kind of thought that you were like the tough guy and that you knew how to fight because your dad was a boxer, and that was proven wrong. But it really does make you tough mentally more than physically.
So then, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced when you were starting out, like mentally, socially, with people? Like, was it a lot of pressure that your dad was a national champion and you were just kind of starting out?
Right. So the people that I started boxing with, they knew me for a pretty long time, most of them. And I think the biggest challenges weren't that like my dad was a boxer, but there's some people that knew that, and they just wanted to spar like a boxer's son. So there's a lot of people, a lot of competition, a lot of rivalries where you really had to toughen up or you're gonna get beat up.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're like kind of living in your father's shadow, or do you like have a chip on your shoulder, like you have to like prove people wrong? And
I thought I would have that, but actually no. My dad was always like, follow your dreams, do what you want to do, just make sure that you're happy while you're doing it, right? So it was actually not really under his influence. Obviously it was a big reason why I started it, but he just supported me all the way, and I didn't really feel pressure on that aspect.
Okay, how was the celebration like after that tournament? You're becoming a national champ was.
So like popping bottles like this or what? Right? How was that?
Yeah, that was really awesome. It was a crazy feeling. I couldn't believe it, right? All that work paid off. So, just ate a lot. I ate nonstop for like 2 weeks, making up that food that I missed.
Twinkies.
Yeah, Twinkies.
Right.
Every single food there was, right? Except for vegan food, but
yeah. we love vegans. Just
yeah.
We love we support everybody, whatever they eat.
Yeah.
Right. So just really left in awe, and my family was kind of worried, like, are you gonna take this boxing thing seriously, right? Don't take too many punches to the head. But it was just more like celebration time, and was just really happy.
That's nice. Yeah. So just all the hard work that you put in just came out.
Right.
That's tight. So do you have any hobbies outside of boxing? I know we were talking a little bit like before this started that he has a few other things of interest other than boxing, but I'd say probably boxing, at least for last year, it wasn't necessarily a hobby. It was something that you were just focused on, right? It was a grind. So tell us a little bit about like maybe other hobbies that now going into 2019 you want to focus a little bit more on.
Right. So as much as I love boxing, my biggest passion is investing. That's why I love this, like the idea of this podcast and these two guys, right? It's investing and, that millennial mindset where you get to, grow up in this time period. So I love investing, real estate in specific, and that's something that I really do plan on doing in the future.
You watch people like Grant Cardone?
Right.
Yeah, 10 times.
Yeah.
So all those YouTubers, Cody Sperber, Chris Crone, like all these people that are really, motivational, like this guy right here.
Yeah, motivational mind shift.
Yeah. So it's really cool just learning how they do that and knowing that if they could, I could. So that's something I do love.
What got you into just the whole investing thing?
Right, so I always grew up, kind of like not the smartest person in class, but definitely one of the most creative in thinking outside the box. So, that always sparked a love for entrepreneurship, but that was always a big question mark in how I would do it. But after, getting to read, looking some stuff and just like finding out, I found about real estate and wholesaling and investing, and that's something I did really fall in love with. I invested my time into that a lot, and that's something I found a passion for.
Being a young entrepreneur as yourself, do you go to school, right? Obviously. So do you feel like you need school, or do you feel like school kind of like holds you back from doing what you really want to do?
Right. I always thought that education is important because it's like education is something that no one can take away from you, right? I do, always want to make my family proud in graduating high school.
Right.
But, it's just like I do think that high school sometimes don't get to show you like what you're supposed to learn in the future. They prepare you for some jobs they do, but
right.
just they don't always prepare you for, you know, financially in the future and teach
For
you
real
what
life
things
in
in
general.
real life, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big shock, and you know, just realizing all these things at once, it's like, okay, so I always wanted to go to college, but now it's just more like started investing right away. So I do think that, you know, school is really good, but it's not meant for everyone.
Okay, yeah, sick. So what's something important that you've learned from boxing, and how does that like transfer into your everyday life? Like maybe like the discipline that you learn in training, how does that transfer into your daily life today? You know, so just some things, like the most important thing that you learned from boxing. How does it apply today?
Right. It really showed me mental toughness, right? You know, there's a lot of struggles and tough things that you go through in boxing, but the main thing was mental toughness. If you doubted yourself, then other people are going to doubt you, and if you doubted yourself, then, you know, you're most likely going to lose. So when you get mentally tough and you say, I can do this and I will do this, then that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
It's all about that mindset.
That mindset.
That mindset. All right, so what are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years?
So in the future, I'm 16 right now, so in about 5 years, and when I'm 21, you know, I already plan on, you know, investing, already wholesaling a good amount, having rental properties, and, you know, just, I do love boxing. It's something that I really love, but, you know, it's something that I'm willing to sacrifice for my family's future, my future, and, you know, my future family to come. So.
Yeah, we got you. All right, so you know who Ryan Garcia is?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You like? Would you ever get in the ring with him or what?
Honestly, yeah, I'm pretty.
You would?
Calling out Ryan Garcia. Yo, Ryan Garcia, we got your next rival right here, man.
Next fight.
Yep. All right, so that was Brian Barragan for you guys. He actually has he's starting out a YouTube channel. It's called Investor Talk. We'll link it down in the description. If you guys want to check us out again, I'm Teenage Day Trader both on Instagram and YouTube.
And
that
you
is.
Find me on Instagram, motivation_mindshift. And you can find Brian here.
At investor_talk. Yeah.
With that said, that concludes our first episode of
Millennial Mindset.